Hello, my dear friend. Good evening. How are you? I've finally gotten to the end of your crazy clan, and I'm actually quite blown away by quite a few things. I found the comedy in it quite. Yeah, there's some bits in it that had me absolutely giggling. Especially when you tried to speak Spanish. But as a whole, I was shocked by quite a few things. Because I do get the feeling that the character Philip is you. I get that very much. It was lovely to see if obviously this character is you, is how far you've come. The whole, see you in 10 years with published book in hand and things like that. And, just the way you tie it off at the end as well is really, really nice. And so it's gone from a nice shade of comedy and your sort of Kevin Smith type film to something that hit home and hit really hard as well. Very real life aspects. Every one of your characters was a real person, and that came right through in the script. That you could define everybody just by reading the way that they were speaking. The only thing when I was reading it is that the formatting's off. So, like, every character should be one above each other. Because I found scrolling side to side at first, it was getting a bit, for my brain, a bit pickly. But I got past it and I read it, and it was, absolutely brilliant. And again, no quotation marks because it's a screenplay, so it doesn't need quotes. Obviously, kind of used to writing novels, so. But as I said, there is absolutely nothing wrong in the writing. It's the formatting. That's it. I wouldn't edit anything at this stage at all. I'd wait till it goes to read through until it goes to production, and that's when I feel that editing may, in some cases, possibly just for time constraints, be necessary. But it might be a case of filming it all and cutting out what you feel doesn't work once you've filmed it. I wouldn't touch it. I think there's a lot of truth in that is you. It's your people, and I wouldn't cut it at all in any shape or form at this moment in time. That's my honest opinion on it. And I must say, I do love Lisa. I think she's brilliant. She's kind of like this hard-headed glue that holds you all together, and each of you had a very different shade. She's tough. She helps you get you through stuff. Um, and I hope I'm right in thinking Philip is you, and I could definitely tell he was you just from a lot of the stuff that was in it, and he sounds like you. So I would imagine, yes, I'm right in thinking. And maybe you've told me this before, but I got hit by a garage door today, so I'm a bit concussed. It's a long story. I went to the garage today, I flipped the garage up too fast and too hard, and it bounced off the wall, came back down and thumped me on the side of the head, so that was great fun. Yeah, honestly, I really would not change a single thing about your script. I may have to read it through again another time when I've got peace and quiet to do so. It's very hard to read it off a phone, but I read it perfectly, and that's why it took me so long to get back to you, and I'm so sorry for that. I'm really proud of you for finishing this, for getting it all up there, and of course, if as we say, if Philip was you, and that is a very real truth that came to light about an event with the whiskey and sleeping pills that had me in tears. Because just picturing you going through that, if you did, was quite hard hitting. And knowing and being in similar situations myself. My goodness, thank goodness you are still here. Thank goodness Philippe is still here. It's a wonderful story that you're telling. I'll continue this in a second. I'm sorry for that. That got me quite choked up. Now that is a good thing. If you can start happy and smiley and laughy emotions in me, and obviously when people are being kind of dirty buggers in it, and I just go, Oh, for God's sake. You stir that emotion in me. I'm like, for fuck's sake, stop being dirty buggers. Then you stir this emotional shade where I start crying at your writing. That's a great script right there. You have a lot in that script. And it's yeah, I think you've got something really good there. I can't promise that every word will stay the same in it. When you come to production, a lot of things change. But I would definitely get this made, and I'd get the right director behind it, because I think whether or not you make it as a film or you break it into a mini series, it's up to you, because it would work either way, I think. It has very wonderful and different shades throughout it, in a sense of you've kind of got what appears to be an awakening, all of you. It's not just about graduation. This is about a life awakening, and I had no idea about the drugs involved. I had no idea about any of that, whether that's true, whether you've written it in a different subtext. But I'm gathering that a lot of what you've written has come from life itself, because it does seem too true to be just solely fiction. And I love the way you have that nice close knit about everyone who's your friend is your family. That the close knit of the crazy clan is more your family than even your family would have been. And I can relate to that very much, in my own parents, and how selfish they are. The way that you write Philip's parents in this, I'm really hoping your parents weren't as bad as that. But I can relate to that as well. I can see that shade of selfishness, that kind of lack of support as well, for you as a person, and having the disabilities you have is not supported. And I know that it's like my mum will work with children who have Asperger's but treat them differently to me, and likewise I have problems with numbers too. So I can understand Philip's character very well, and I understand as I hopefully am right in thinking it is you. The look at what you've become, and look at the man you've grown into. I think it's amazing, and I think it's inspirational. The fact that it is based on a true story is a huge inspiration indeed, because you've never given up. If I'm right in thinking here, because I'm getting all emotional for nothing here if I'm not, I'm pretty sure that this, as you said before, this is based on a group of your friends and yourself, and that it gets very, very clear when you read it, and that yes, you've had all these setbacks, and probably felt like giving up. And at one point, very much so felt like giving up. And you've kept fighting, and you've graduated from Full Sail, and you've published books, and you've become a renowned historian. So you've basically said a huge fuck you to the world that didn't believe in you, you know. Another thing, I have never heard you swear. I don't think I've heard you swear. And I'm seeing a lot of effing and blazing and bitch and this. I'm like, what the hell? William, I've never known you to swear. You were such a polite gentleman. But, it shows very real life speech. That's the thing, is it's very real life speech. And some of Lisa's lines are just amazing. I bloody love them. I think she is one ballsy woman. I really think that she's an absolute. She's kind of, I can relate to her in that sense, is that she's the only girl in a group of guys, and she's one of the guys. You know what I mean? It's like brothers. You're all her brothers, and I can relate to that very much as a person. That character is very like me, and it's yeah. I honestly think you're onto a winner with this. Sorry if I'm totally blabbing your head off and stuff like that. I don't really have time to sit on the phone and chat this evening, but I hopefully will do get a chance to talk to you properly about it. But what I'm saying about it at the moment is in voice messages, because I'm kind of here in the now at the moment. And obviously I've just finished reading it. And as I say, I think it will reach out to quite a lot of people, people with disabilities, people who are finding themselves, people who are at that stage in their lives and their education, and people who have unsupportive parents, people who have close-knit friends who they are more like family. It's going to speak to them. In some senses there was slight hints of teen movie and like Dude, Where's My Car kind of thing, some hints of Kevin Smith, that kind of idea, that kind of directorials, but then it had the real life hitter and the kicker. It's like I went from smiling and laughing at people talking about big balls and going to the toilet in Spanish, to then going from that to sorry, I just got a message to say, have I had tea? Do I have tea? 2 seconds, I'll get back to you. I went from smiling and laughing and joking kind of in a way, and sort of laughing with you, to complete and utter shock. And that is, again, a good sign of writing. One of the things they say about writing screenplays and films and things is that I went to a screenplay seminar once, and it was talking about how you keep somebody roped in, and it is you've got obstacle after obstacle constantly hitting your protagonist. And, this seems to happen to you a lot, to Philip, a lot in this script. Is it seems that he's got constant obstacles, one after the other. Some are maybe his own making, in terms of getting drunk and things like that. Others are obstacles put there by education systems and people not believing in you, people thinking you're stupid for the way that your mind works. And the obstacles of people around you who don't believe. One of the things is you were saying you want to be creative and you're good at creativity and writing and art and literature. I didn't even know you had a guitar, and that's, if you do have a guitar, that's something that's new I'm learning about you. If you did, is that you played a guitar. I've known you for like a decade, man. Why didn't you tell me? And then to find out your parents sold it to pay a debt, and I don't know if this is, again, whether this is something you've added in or whether this happened to you, but that is fucking awful, because that's like the clincher. That little, what would be an insignificant thing to most people is like, oh, we've had to. This is your livelihood. This is part of your creativity, which is part of your soul, which is part of you, and it became this trigger when everything felt wrong. This trigger that just threw you right over the edge. And reading that just went, oh my God. And I have never, I've read all your writing, but never read something, this is different from anything I've ever read of yours. It was an immediate style difference, because this came from somewhere else. This came from where I could see this came very much from the heart. It wasn't just imagination. This was imagination, but also from the heart. It was developed, from your imagination, but your heart was talking. And that put a whole new spin on things. It created a whole new edge in the writing, and something that was very differently styled from anything I've ever read of yours before. But wow, that's where it kind of blew me away. At the beginning, I would look at things and go, okay, this is good writing. It's generally not my style. It's not my, my cup of tea in some senses, because I could feel the teen movie vibe coming in. But then it took a twist, and it turned, and it changed, and it evolved into something as I was reading it. And that's an unusual thing, is to see something that evolves while you're reading it. It's I don't know how to put it, but it's like it gradually changed. It's like it was growing up as the people in the story were growing up. It's like you all started off at this level of an awakening, a sort of sexual awakening coming from childhood and adulthood into awakening into drugs and everything else like that. And then, experimenting with life. And then hard-hitting things, then really, really adult things. Talking about adult things and sexuality. I'm talking about those disparaging feelings, those things that really pull you down, those things that make you grow up and make you grow up fast because they hit you so damn hard that you end up doing something you would never do, and it makes you become an adult in a different sense. You'll end up looking at life in a very different way, and that's what I mean. That's what happened in your writing. Is it was the same sort of idea. Is that throughout it, you started to look at it in a different way. It began to change as the people's lives in that script began to change, including yourself. Anyways, sorry for blabbing on so long about it, but that's what good writing does. It makes you talk about it and it makes you think. And thank you so much for sharing that with me. It's very much appreciated and I'm glad to be part of it in some way. As I say, I won't change a thing or edit a thing. The only thing I can suggest to you is format it properly, and that means remove all quotation marks that aren't a quote, as if somebody's quoting something, and make sure that every character, because it's easier to read as well, is one below each other in order of what they're speaking, because I don't know if it's just maybe the way it's sent, but they're coming across from each other at points, so it becomes distracting and hard to read. Other than that, it's just the formatting. I wouldn't touch it. Your writing's perfect. And as I say, that will change possibly when it comes to filming it. You'll see things or hear things as they're being said or read and go, oh, I prefer to do it that way, or I might actually cut that scene back a bit because something like that's happened previously, so I don't need it in again. That kind of thing. But that comes down to the whole editing process in general, even to the last moment a film's being put through the cutting room, that sort of thing, and whether much is cut off or not, and it could be shot dependent. So as a whole, as a script, the story is fine. It's absolutely perfect. And I say thank you for sharing that with me, and I'm glad to have been part of it. And I shall maybe talk to you about it in greater detail maybe at some point, but have a wonderful night, and thank you so much again. That was great to read, and speak to you soon. Bye for now, buddy. Bye.